Okay, well, there's a wrap. There's our Odyssey. Wow, what a what a trooper. That thing is fun. Since we've last seen it, put the fenders back on it, washed it up finally, got our carb dialed in, put a factory exhaust back on it. Here's the old one. Here's the original. You can see how it completely blowed out. I put this tin can on it just to get us through that first video so we could test it. But of course, the first ride, we blew right through that. So we replaced it with a factory replacement. Was able to find one, Karl. Appreciate it, sir. He was able to find us and locate us an original one from out west. So if you do need to ship something odd, heavy, bulky, go to pirateship.com. And if pirateship.com, if y'all are watching, y'all can give me a call. But anyways, everything is really going to plan. I was able to source Amazon has it. You can find a link in the description. The pulse pump, perfect. Something I didn't know. These require a bypass, if you will. And so it returns the fuel back to the tank. If you don't use one of those, you'll overpressurize your carburetor and cause your carburetor to flood. I learned that the hard way. But something else I didn't know is that return line is actually underneath this flat manifold here. And you have to work in this little gap where my fingers are. That's right. But you can verify it on yours. And I didn't know this. You see that little metal nipple right there inside the tank? You'll see that? When it's running, fuel comes out of there because it's recycling, bypassing the carburetor, if you will. The hose, the factory hose going to mine was completely plugged up. I had hooked it up, but I wasn't getting any fuel there, and I was flooding out the carburetor. So something you can check is be sure you can blow through this line. If you can't, mine was completely collapsed and full of dirt. It does need some motor mounts. We need 2 front motor mounts in the front. I've just got it kind of temporary put together there. You see the band clamp there around the front. That'll certainly hold it for what we did today. But it does need some 2 front motor mounts. The bushings here underneath the exhaust, I ended up using, I had some upper shock mount rubber bushings. It's hot right now. Or I touch, I can feel the heat coming off of it. Worked perfect for that. Just 2 round rubber. You can pick them up in your help section. I know it's not a factory seat, y'all, but for someone my size, that is the maximum amount of room you're going to get between the roll cage and the seat. Excuse me, the roll cage and the handlebars. And you need every bit of it if you're close to 6 foot like me. The heat shield, never did I feel any heat coming from it. I rode it. I mean, it's not even, you know, it's just room temperature. Heat shield is certainly working. I like that. I hit a lot of sticks. I felt pretty confident and comfortable knowing that there's a piece of steel between me. Remember, this is that skid pan I put underneath it to actually bolt the seat to, and that allows that keeps the sticks from coming through, and I bolted it from the bottom. That worked out really well. Some of you keen-eyed guys, y'all realize I do not have the emergency brake system. When I bought this buggy, the housing back here for the emergency brake, all of that was missing. And so not having those components to put on, I will tell you that they are 3-wheeler leftover parts is what they are. They are basically the front brake, or the rear brake, excuse me, of a 200S is what they look like. These tires are sticky. They didn't like that. But I went ahead and just got rid of that for right now. We can go back. We have the mechanism, but we did not have any of the internals back here on the hubs. Speaking of these hubs, these are 200X hubs, wheels and tires. I just threw on there. They are the right size, so they fit the buggy. But that's where they came from, and that's why they're silver. They look good though. Really, you could put some silvers on the front and it would be a nice look. I did wash it up. You see, we could use some fenders. And this is a fiberglass tub. This is not plastic. You can actually see the fiberglass mat in it. And so you can re-fiberglass that. It's funny how these letters held up to the pressure washer. Because if you remember, all of this was mold and just overgrown. Steering is good. It's got a little slop in it, not a whole lot, a little bit, not too bad. The inner tie rods is really what needs to be done. We do not have an electrical system yet, as in lights. That's another day and another project. But I gotta tell y'all, I told you in the beginning of this, I knew a kid that had one of these when I was a little kid, and he never rode it, and I don't know why. what a blast. It's really is it's a childhood memory that never really was. Yeah, I can remember playing on it, not running, but never heard it run, never got to experience driving it. And here we are some 45 something years later, and I have one and it runs, and you can have one. You're just gonna have to find it. We literally pulled this out of a vacant property sitting in the bushes. It hadn't run in who knows how long. The interesting thing about this is it still holds true to all of the three-wheelers. It was very complete. No one had really monkeyed with it and took a lot of parts off of it. It pretty much looks exactly the way it was when I bought it. I did take the snorkel off the top because it was all busted up. Some of you hardcore Odyssey guys, you know that there was a snorkel that ran up here, an air intake. That was all broken, so I just took it off. But the air cleaner was here, the exhaust was here, the gas tank was not rotted out. There was old fuel flopping around in the bottom of it. The recoil needed to be rebuilt. We redid that with new line, and it's been great ever since. That's all it needed. The carburetor was the big killer on this bike. The original carburetor was just jacked. I don't even think it can be redone. Curtie's got it now, and if y'all, I'm telling you, if y'all don't know carburetors, you need to know Curtie over at 223 Cycles. Y'all need to look him up, give him a call. Got the email. His contact information is down in the bottom of the description of this video. He sent me that carburetor. That made the day here because that other carburetor was just unfixable. Whatever they did to it, it was trashed. Need to put a new carb. That was a big expense for this one. That's still the original belt. I have a belt for it, but that's the original belt, and that's why I didn't mind smoking it a little bit here because it needs to be replaced. The seat comes from Jegs, $39. That's included shipping. I can't get over how well that worked out. Again, Karl, he took care of us. He was able to find us the link bars that go inside. We've got good brakes. That's something that has been changed. Brakes, they're important. You need them. You need them a lot. These are the brakes that came off of it, and this is all there is. It's a manual disc brake, and they are shot. If you look really close, you see the little lines there. It's just completely gone. These were not stopping anything. Definitely got their money's worth out of them. They sell these. These are readily available. There's a link for them in the description. They come off of Amazon. EBC, the same company that makes a lot of your automotive brakes and other vehicle brakes, EBC, that's who makes those. They put them on there. They work great. Once I got them adjusted, they'll lock the back end up. So that was pretty good. Other than that, the switch in the front, we've talked about it. It's the same switch that comes in your ATC 70. It's just a little shorter. If you don't mind extending the wiring, it'll save you $25. Air filter by Uni. It's inside our housing. It's not perfect, y'all, but it starts on the first or second pull, and you ride until you're out of gas, and then you fill it up and you do it again. And I've done that, and that's what it's about. It's not about looking the best. It's not about being something it's not. It's a 35, 40-year-old buggy that has been neglected half of its life. If you shop smartly and look for the most complete bike, if that motor had been split out and somebody had disassembled it and parts were missing all over the place, I probably wouldn't have bought it, even for $300. I'm sorry, that's a lot of work. I don't buy projects. I buy complete bikes that don't run. Their parts are still with them, and they can be a whole bunch of different things wrong with them, but it's not the owner per se. It's not missing parts. It's not that the parts are missing and somebody's lost all the bolts. I can't imagine what it would take if you had two halves of an engine and nothing else, and you've never touched one of these before. I couldn't tell you where to begin except to get a manual, make a friend, take your time and follow it. But even with that, sourcing each and individual nut, bolt, gasket, part, it would take you so long, so much time, and really so much money just in shipping each one of those little small individual parts. You would have been better off buying a complete engine already assembled. Maybe it needed a top end, but at least it would be assembled and then put on a bike or a buggy. So I still stress that to each and every one of y'all. Even if it was free, you can nickel and dime anything. I don't care if it's a lawnmower, a tractor, a go-kart, three-wheeler, whatever. They will nickel and dime you if you let them. And that's why buying a complete vehicle, whatever it is money ahead. Even if you pay a little bit more for it, you're money ahead. The aggravation. Can you imagine putting a whole engine together and forgetting a gasket and then having to pull it back out and start over, or not even realizing it, you know, and then fight with tuning it for months and months and months of tuning and find out that it's because the previous owner left something out. It can cost you a lot of time and heartache trying to come behind somebody, and that's my money pit. I broke my own rule. I bought something that was someone else's project. Even though it ran and drove, it was clearly a project. As opposed to this Odyssey, it had just quit running. It died in the yard. They left it there. They pushed it off out of the way, and it's set for at least 10 years, maybe longer. The amount of mold that was on it and spiders and everything else, it's been there a long time. But that's the difference. That's the difference between fixing something that's complete and whole and not messed with versus coming behind somebody that thinks they know what they're doing and they don't. And so I encourage you, while you're out looking for projects, and I get messages from y'all every day, be diligent, look often, look everywhere, put out want ads, but when you get ready to purchase, you buy the most complete bike you can afford. With that said, thank you always. I encourage you, get out, find a project. It doesn't have to be a three-wheeler. It doesn't have to be an Odyssey. Find something, work with your hands, get some tools, build up a toolbox, and get familiar with how things work. You would be amazed at how well these lessons and tricks that you learn on working on an old Odyssey can apply to your everyday life. Order of operations, putting things together in the right order, sourcing out problems. It's going to save you money the rest of your life. It gives you a great fulfillment of self when you're out in the shop and you make something work. I mean, I can't tell you how great that makes me feel to know that I can put someone else on there. It's to that point. It's safe enough that I can put someone else on it and go, here, be careful, but have a good time. That's an amazing feeling. And I did it for pretty much not a lot of money. All total, from the last video to now, we've added the exhaust, we've added the brakes, and that's really about it money-wise. We got this thing going for less than $800, y'all. $800, we are riding, and we are consistently riding. I've ridden it for almost 2 hours today, on and off, setting up the camera, doing different things, but it started every single time, and I never put a wrench on it. That's what it's about. That's what I'm encouraging you to do. It doesn't have to look perfect. It just needs to be mechanically sound and safe. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. We're well on our way to 10,000. I think we just passed 4,500. So we're getting there, and that's because of y'all, and I appreciate it. And I hope y'all had some fun this video. We didn't do a lot of work. We did a lot of playing, but you got to do that too. We got to be well-rounded around here. I'd kind of gotten away from playing, and so maybe we need to do some more playing. Y'all take care. Enjoy. Have a great weekend. Good night.